You're listening to On the Pole Podcast with your pole sitter, Earl.
Hook to it and just jerk it off.
And outside front row, Derek Carpoletti.
That is shoving the hot dog in the bun right there.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's episode 2 of the On the Pole Podcast. I'm your pole sitter, Earl, and I'm joined by outside front row, Derek. So we're gonna hopefully we can get into a good flow this episode. How's it going, Derek?
Oh, not too bad. Just got back from an action-packed weekend. We went out to Ohio and did some RC car racing.
Oh, is that right?
Dominated. Well, we dominated. You know, we won everything. We ran 4 classes and won 3 of them, in 2 of which we finished first and second, and the other one first and third. So, yeah, can't really ask for much more than that. Then we headed back to town Sunday morning, caught the Super Bowl, got fat, drank beer, ready for Daytona. What about you?
So ready for Daytona. Yeah, I mean, I spent the weekend just kind of relaxing, getting ready for the Super Bowl, and then it was a solid game, you know. Obviously, the most important thing is that we're getting ready for the Daytona 500. As we go through the episode, we're going to talk about Daytona 500 pole qualifying, you know, coming up. Obviously, we're the On the Pole podcast, so we got to focus on who gets the pole, and this is the most important qualifying of the year, I guess. That's what they always tell us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and then we'll talk about what happened at the Clash. And but first, I want to know, you know, what'd you think of the Super Bowl?
Yeah. So the game, I thought it was good. You know, it started out a little slow, but you know, Mahomes' magic came in at the end and made it a nail biter. But I know you watched a lot of it on the Nickelodeon channel. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, the Nickelodeon stream is superior. Like, I'm here to tell everybody, anyone that ever listens to this podcast, hopefully we can get the message out. What I'm saying on the rest of the podcast is not important. The Nickelodeon broadcast is better, miles and away better. It doesn't even have to be SpongeBob and Patrick. The fact that it's a different format and they're just behaving differently is so cool. But the voice actors that do SpongeBob and Patrick did an amazing job. And they were always making some sort of Taylor Swift pun, or Patrick was obsessed with special teams. The punter, Wisnowski, was the MVP to Patrick. He had something to say every time he came on the field. I loved it. It made the Super Bowl for me this year.
So what do we got to do, and who do we have to talk to get NASCAR to do something like this?
I know, right? Hopefully there's a lot of groundswell from what happened last night. Hopefully a lot of people tuned into the Nickelodeon broadcast. And NASCAR is they do like to see something work and then try to copy it. There's precedence with that. The Field of Dreams game in baseball sort of was a preface to NASCAR doing North Wilkesboro All-Star Race. So hopefully we have 5 races streamed on TNT this season, which is a Warner Discovery property, which is also involved with Cartoon Network. So I don't know. Maybe we could see a children's style broadcast and get some Cartoon Network characters in there. Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. I was thinking
Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah, I was thinking Scooby and Shaggy. That'd be a good one.
Oh boy. Get the whole crew on it, you know, because then Fred, Daphne, Velma, they're the pit reporters. Scrappy Doo, yeah.
Maybe they can bring back that whole Looney Tunes gimmick that they had. Tie that in there.
Oh my God. Back when NASCAR was on the peak, Jeff Gordon was doing like his own version of Space Jam and everything. After that movie was any
awesome.
good.
So I mentioned I went RC racing, and to tie that back into NASCAR, 2 weeks ago the Chili Bowl happened, and there is a mini version of that happens in the building right next door called the RC Chili Bowl. It's a week-long event, 300 something entries, and one of the big winners was NASCAR star Justin Haley. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah. You know, I'm a big Justin Haley fan, and so I was pumped to hear that he won the RC Chili Bowl, and that we still have a running debate if Fox Sports is going to air some coverage on the RC Chili Bowl during the Daytona 500 pre-race on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know if Haley got a ride for Saturday. He usually does. He's one of the best plate racers out there. I'm so happy. You know, like, I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for the RC community that a guy like Justin Haley's still out there kicking it. You know, He really, that helps transition into our next topic. Like, he ran really well at the Clash, and not a lot of people expected the move to Rick Ware Racing to really yield too much. I know running top 10 at the Clash isn't like winning a race, and neither will Daytona, when they run top 10 there. But I'm really pulling for Justin. Hopefully, the alliance with RFK. What do you think? How do you think Justin's going to fare?
I think at Daytona, probably fine. He'll probably operate somewhere in the 10th to 15th range, probably most of the race, and then with the right circumstances, of course, he could be right in the mix. So he's a really good plate racer.
Yeah.
The team probably won't hurt him as much at Daytona. In an overall season, I would say making the playoffs is probably a little far fetched, but I would say a 20th to 25th place would be, I would in my mind, be a successful season for Rick Ware, especially, and it's even honestly an improvement for Justin Haley from last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, I was surprised at how the points finishes were turning out for Justin Haley. But a good run at the Clash. We saw a lot of good runs at the Clash. We saw Denny Hamlin win, and get cocky about it again. And we saw Joey Logano. I almost said Joey Gibbs, which is the perfect, because that's why this topic is so good. Gibbs versus Logano. What do you think about that? Is Logano kind of forgetting who he is?
Yes, but I think all of those drivers forget who they were at some point. If you remember Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, all those guys, especially you saw it last year with Matt Kenseth, with Ross Chastain. All those same guys had the same problems with him that people had with them in the 90s and early 2000s. And I think you're just seeing kind of a rebrand of that with Joey and Ty. Ty's aggressive for sure. He's got to piss people off, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't necessarily think he did anything wrong. Apparently the feud's been going on for a while, but
I saw in the Netflix documentary. They got together in Martinsville.
It's easy to be the giver. It's not so easy to take it, especially in the third quarter of your career.
Yeah, I think Ty gets a lot of flack for being, last name Gibbs, and obviously he's had good equipment for his whole career. He just basically, closed the ARCA series in my book. That's the last time I paid attention to ARCA. Was Ty Gibbs won a bunch of races. And he showed up, won a bunch of Xfinity races. I think he's really good, and he gets a bad rap. He's obviously matured a lot since he first came into the sport, and I feel like it's just poorly timed on Joey's part, almost. Sure, Ty's a little aggressive, but he's no different than Joey or Ryan Blaney and a lot of the other young guys that came in and just started pushing people around. So, Ryan's one of the more respectful racers as his career came out, went along. But, I don't know. I think that hopefully it keeps going because it's good TV. But...
Oh, yeah. And we know Ty Gibbs can fight, so he would knock Joey out in no time.
Yeah, Joey Logano's a pusher. He just kind of he tries to push people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Who were some of the guys that Ty Gibbs got into it with in Xfinity?
Well, there's the big one is Brandon Jones. He was already locked into the Final Four, and Brandon Jones, his teammate at the time, was not. And he just completely dumped him just to win Martinsville. But I say just to win Martinsville. Like, there's the clock. I believe in the prestige of winning a race. And Brandon Jones has already announced to have been leaving. So,
yep.
And then, he got into it with AJ Allmendinger a lot. Got into it with Noah Gragson was the person, I think, it's Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer. The one that he got in a fist fight with. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Not so much for Sam, but for everyone else.
Got a lot of good sound bites out of it.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs said something about this is just a fun race for me. I'm racing on Sunday, so have fun. Yeah. I thought the Clash was pretty good. Denny Hamlin winning. There's not a lot of fans in the building.
Yeah. So from my understanding, Saturday was supposed to be a free admission day in general, even before the rain delay. They're going to do, I think, some of the heat races, I believe, Saturday, and that was supposed to be free admission, like first come, first serve. And obviously, when they moved the main event up to Saturday, they honored that free admission to the race, and frankly, it was a little light.
Yeah. Yeah, free
So
admission, and there's still empty stands. It's a little weird.
yeah, and they keep saying that LA is supposed to be one of the bigger markets for them, but I think that shows a little different.
Yeah. I mean, whether you look at the Clash experiment as a success or not, the contract's up, and we just had a bad year. I think that a lot of people aren't going to want to take the risk again. I'm not sure we'll go back to Daytona. I keep seeing articles from Adam Stern or Bob about going international, going to Mexico or going to Montreal. I think that's the more likely scenario for the Clash.
Yeah.
I prefer going back to Daytona because Daytona felt like an exhibition, like something that didn't, it prefaced the Daytona 500 and really brought everything together. But
yeah, I think I would love to see it back at Daytona just because it gives Daytona some kind of sense of build-up that we don't really have now. Now the race is happening this weekend and nothing has been on the track yet.
yeah,
So kind of lack of hype for that race. But if they weren't going to go to the super speedway for the Clash, I think it would be neat to go to one of the short tracks near Daytona. And if they're doing an exhibition race, they don't need the pit road. I mean, they'll still need probably the safer walls or whatever, but you can make that happen. I mean, they paved a whole fucking track in the middle of a stadium. They can't put up a couple of foam walls.
Yeah, I feel like the beach race is possible at that point. Like,
all rally race?
Yeah, put some suspension and some shocks on there. NASCAR Rumble.
Yeah, NASCAR Rumble. Street race through the main strip in the beach, cut into the sand, cut back out. I'm sure there's something else they can do, and then circle back around and do it again.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good.
Or I got another one. What about like those Need for Speed games where it'd be just one lap, but it was like a race through the town, and it was like a 10-minute one lap race.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Like that.
I think also if you just put a race like that on a highway, like you take an 8-lane highway from like a city where it really curves and like loops around a lot, and you just have a pack race. You have a Talladega Daytona style pack race, but on highways, and it just goes one way. There's no laps. The sprint race.
We should do a snow race.
They did a snow race in the Euro Series a couple of years ago.
Bring them to Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. We'll have to start, write a letter to your congressman. I don't know who my congressman is. Congressperson.
Yeah, I mean, they have already, obviously the race is a gimmick, and that's what it's kind of intended for, and it's become more and more of a obvious gimmick as the years have went.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's an exhibition, no points. But if you're going to make a gimmick,
For real. I always thought last place if you go 10 laps and on the 11th lap someone gets eliminated and has to come down pit road, that might be something good too. And the biggest one that I always come to is Tiburon Speedway and NASCAR Thunder 2003. I want to turn right. Let's see them turn right. Can they turn right? They got to prove to me, that they can turn right.
Yeah. As far as anyone else is concerned, they just go left in circles. So
yeah.
Let's go right in circles.
NASCAR loves to market the races with crashes and all this like fire and chaos. Like, there you go. There's a funny way to market a race.
And I don't want to get spun up in it too much, but the whole elimination every so many laps, like don't stop the race, but like that car pulls down, like you said, would honestly make the Clash at Daytona kind of awesome because you can't everyone has to go full board the whole time.
Yeah, you have to stay up front. Like the pack would be insane. That would be really good.
Yeah, and that allows NASCAR to add everybody to the race like they want to do anyways. So if they're not going to make an exclusive race like it used to be, at least make it exciting.
I think it really broke through to something on that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of running at Daytona, the It's NASCAR season. We are 6 days away from the Daytona 500. Uh, I'm unbelievably excited. Like, it was a long off season. It was tough. They made us believe that Netflix documentary was going to come out so much sooner than it did. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for some NASCAR. The qualifying's on Wednesday, and Chevy's won the last 12 years in a row. Like, what do we think's going to happen this year? Is it going to be a Hendrick car? Is it going to be a Chevy?
No, but stats say yes. Obviously, if you look at trends, and it's going to be, a Hendrick front row, or at least one of the Hendrick cars will be in the front row. But you got a lot of unknowns. You got the new Toyota, the new Ford. Driver changes, I don't think that really plays a big effect, since the driver doesn't really play a huge part in that.
Yeah.
I mean, Danica Patrick's gotten a pull, Alex Bowman's gotten a pull, so talent's not really a huge factor. I think
Alex Bowman. Poor Alex Bowman.
if
sneak one
Ford
in there.
and Toyota have good straight line speed, and you could be a shocker. What if Jimmy Johnson pulled it off?
That's what I want the most. I mean, obviously, I want Daniel Suarez to win the pole, but Jimmy Johnson, I just want to see him win everything. Like, I hope he wins his duel. I hope he wins the 500. Like, one win repairs Jimmy Johnson's NASCAR legacy. I mean, not that it's even really tarnished, but I feel like as a whole, the NASCAR community, it doesn't feel like he's respected like he should. Repairs Jimmy Johnson's NASCAR legacy. I mean, not that it's even really tarnished, but I feel like as a whole, the NASCAR community, it doesn't feel like he's respected like he should be.
Yeah, I don't want to see him go out like a Dale Jarrett, or at least have a little bit of Mark Martin going out,
Yeah, Mark Martin was good forever, but Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott ran races till 2011, 2012. I think they were just helping small teams get provisional starts back then. But at the same time, as a fan, and I was younger, you don't understand that. They're like, oh, come on, man, get up front. Like, go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited for the 500. I think Ford's actually going to be able to do something this year. Like, they run good at tracks like that. They run good when the race starts. I feel like it was only a matter of time before something like Daytona 500 qualifying. So I think it's going to be a Ford on the pole. I'd be shocked if it was a Toyota. If it is a Toyota, I imagine it'll be Ty Gibbs.
That's kind of where I was leaning too. I think I truly think it'll be a Ford, if it's not a Hendrick car. And I was leaning in that direction of Brad Keselowski. But Jimmy Johnson would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Johnson's the feel-good pick. We all have our drivers. Jimmy Johnson's definitely. I don't know. He's so much. He's got to be capable, especially at a place like Daytona. Like, obviously, it's not going to be up to him in qualifying, but new Toyota body and all that support that they got and everything like that, I'm pretty excited. I think Jimmy's got a good shot. Petty blue car. I love the petty blue car.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Jam, go out there and get him one.
Is there any surprise entries in? Like last year we had Travis Pastrana. There's someone else too.
Well,
and then Jimmy Johnson.
I don't know if it's much of a surprise, but I just 10 minutes before I came here, I was on NASCAR on Reddit, and I saw that someone spotted the New York Racing trailer, the number 44, and there is a paint scheme on the side of it, and it is the Biff. So get stiff for the Biff.
What happened to the money team?
I don't know. I think it was about a month or two ago, they said they weren't coming to Daytona. They just couldn't get it together in time. But that they planned.
I don't think they ever had it together.
Yeah, and they said, which they've said in like 3 or 4 consecutive years, that we're not going to do Daytona to focus on other races and then do a full season next year with or without a charter.
I guess money doesn't buy brains.
No. I mean, I almost feel like Floyd Mayweather's not involved with that team. But he does have a lot of money. If it's called the money team, like, you can just buy resources, to at least show up at the track.
The team formerly known as the money team.
Yeah, the no money team had to cancel Daytona for lack of sponsorship. We had too much money.
So we're going into Daytona. And I mentioned it's kind of a lack of hype
Yeah.
Just really just in everything in general. But without the buildup of the Clash at Daytona, the speed weeks, the testing, and it seems like it's kind of a condensed schedule this week. We do have one thing to electrify the crowd before the race on Sunday.
What the Rock is cooking!
The Rock's hot right now,
So
too.
the Rock's he's in the house.
Yeah. He's going to fucking
So-
play the Smackdown.
So we got the Rock as the Grand Marshal, Pitbull pre-race performance, and I just saw that DJ Khaled
Yeah.
is going to be doing something. I forgot what, but maybe the invocation.
I think the flag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Flagman. So we got some star power. I know we lost MGK at the Clash. That was sad.
What a big loss. I don't know. I'm a hater, I'm a hater.
I was looking forward to it.
I mean, whatever gets people watching NASCAR, I'm in for it. But it wasn't for me, But hey, I'm more of a chubby checkers guy,
Speaking of chubby, there'll be another guy on the pit road before the race, known as Fat Jeff Gordon.
Fat Jeff Gordon. Yeah, yeah, he's
pudging up.
yeah. I mean, the vest adds 30 pounds. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like on the Santa Claus. He put on Mr. H's vest, and now he's just starting to turn into Mr.
Yeah,
H.
he really is, dude. Yeah, he's got like a gravity about. I mean, that's not a fat joke, right? But he's
He's got gravity.
a presence, I would say. You could see in the Netflix documentary really well. I can't tell if it's that he is like morphing into like a bigger person, or it's just the vest. Like he's wearing a white button-down T-shirt with a vest. Like he's basically dressing up as Mr. H for Halloween every week. Yeah.
Oh man,
I love it. I love having
I
Jeff
saw him
around so much fun.
Yeah, I saw him at the Super Bowl. He did a live, and he's just like sitting in the grandstands like a peasant.
Didn't even get put on TV.
But he had the flat bill, the big old cheeks, looking good.
That's good. I mean, he's a 49ers fan, though. I mean, it's too bad he's not in the booth.
Yeah.
Clint Boyer. We had the whole Clint Boyer versus Jeff Gordon thing when they were in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was a rematch, right?
Yeah, it was.
From that game.
and the Chiefs won
Nice.
again. The 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl in 29 years. They've been to like 4 Super Bowls in the last 10 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they still got more rings than Denny Hamlin.
That's true. That's true. Denny Hamlin's a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, though. I mean, this could be the year again. Or a guy like Denny Hamlin, he's on a hot streak, and obviously he's very confident. You think Denny's got a good shot at taking the 500?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I think everybody kind of does. Anyone in the top 25 in speed, probably. He's obviously good at restrictor plate or whatever it is now, tapered spacer racing.
Taper spacer. That actually sounds pretty good. I never said that. Like, wow.
Would it be TP, TS? What's the acronym for that?
TPR?
TPR,
No,
TPR,
it's TSR.
TSR.
Taper spacer
There it is.
racing. You gotta say it with an
There it
accent,
is.
though. Taper spacer racing.
Tapered spacer
Taper
race.
spacer racing. NASCAR's trying everything they can to get away from looking redneck, and here we are, just dragging them back.
Oh man. So I guess we talked if Denny Hamlin had a good shot. Who's your guy for the 500?
Well, I picked Brad Kay for the pole. And part of why I picked Brad Kay for the pole is how badly he wants to win a 500. And I feel like there's a phenomenon going around right now where if I want to pick Brad Kay for something, I should pick Chris Buescher. I don't know. I think Chris Buescher is going to run really well. Just like he won the Daytona, the fall, or whatever you call it now. It used to be the July race, the 4th of July race. But Chris Buescher won the Firecracker 400, and I think he's going to run really good. And not to really, loop back too much, Justin Haley. I think Justin Haley's a really good plate racer. and he's going to have Ford teammates this year. And he's going to have people like Brad Kay and Chris Buescher pushing him, and vice versa. So I think Justin Haley's going to run really strong. I think amongst the Fords, those are my two picks: is Buescher and Justin Haley.
I agree. The Ford, I truly think the Ford will have the pole, but I'm looking for a winner from the 500 that somebody outside of NASCAR would at least know who it is. We haven't had that in 3 years now.
You're right, and it's actually kind of diminished. I think as much as it was cool for Michael McDowell and Austin Cindric and Stenhouse. That was cool.
This wouldn't be a surprise winner, but it's somebody who hasn't done it, should have done it, and probably will do it this year with 20 years of triumph and 20 years of frustration. Mr.
I'm not
Kyle
surprised
Busch.
about anything. Congratulations.
No, I hope so. Kyle Busch deserves it.
KFB.
I hope so.
Gonna take that weed car to victory lane.
Yeah, this blunt's for you, Kyle. Oh.
So he used to get out and smash NOS energy drinks on his car. He's just gonna get up and just smoke a doobie, look like Snoop Dogg getting out of the car.
Yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to drink beer on TV. If Cole Custer's allowed to just stone cold fucking, then Kyle Busch should be able to just get out and take a big fucking bong rip. Busch Kush, baby.
So when they run out the watermelon to Ross, or they bring out the flag to Brad Keselowski, they just bring out a giant bong to the front stretch.
Yeah, that's what I want. I think I hate to steal. You kind of talked me into it. Kyle Busch for the Daytona 500. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. It'd get mass appeal for sure.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we don't have any weather on Sunday and we can get a good race in.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it earlier. It's hard to pick. The Daytona 500 is really hard to pick because there's going to be big wrecks. A part of me wants to say Chase Elliott, but I have this mental image of seeing Chase Elliott get wrecked from the lead in the Daytona 500 a lot. So yeah, hopefully it's a good race, and hopefully Busch runs well. Every year Kyle Busch gets older and older, I appreciate him more. Just like when we were younger, we used to get so irritated about Jimmy Johnson, and eventually it was like, well, I don't know, he's just unbeatable. I might as well jump on board.
Yeah, that and Dale Jr. had a similar problem.
Yeah.
Well, little did we know he was just concussed the whole time. So
I know.
Looking back now, I feel bad.
Yeah, and it's like an asshole. I sometimes go looking for those clips. They erased it from the internet. I used to compare Dale Jr. with Boomhauer, and I can't even find those interviews anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I love Dale Jr. though. Dale Jr. is a really important part of the sport. I feel dumb for ever doubting like that he wasn't good for it.
So you did bring up a name, a driver I never heard of, Chase Elliott.
Yeah, who's Chase Elliott?
Do you think he's going to come back this year, or is this like a decline for a long time?
Yeah, I think it's a tough call, but I don't want to root against anyone coming back. He said he has shoulder surgery, so maybe the shoulder thing was affecting him. Obviously he had to let the leg heal before he came back. But no, I think it's going to be a long time. I think Chase Elliott will make the playoffs on points, but I don't think he's going to win a race until late in the season. I don't think there's pressure necessarily, but you mentioned it a few years ago when Dale Jr. was out with a concussion and Jeff Gordon came back, and I said, Jeff Gordon's Jeff Gordon. He'll be fine. He's going to run top 10. He's going to kill it. But he'd been out of the car for a little while and just kind of fell behind. I mean, it's a new season, and he had a couple of he had obviously most of the rest of last season to get the feel for the car back, and it still wasn't quite there. I think William Byron is just too good. Kyle Larson is just too good. I think Chase Elliott accidentally fell into an Alex Bowman situation. And it's just going to take a lot to win a race right now. And it might even be an Alan Gustafson problem as the years go by. I'm not qualified to make those decisions. I'm just some asshole on a podcast. But I don't know. I don't think this is the year for old Bill Elliott Jr.
Yeah. I would say maybe Rick needs to bring Chase and Alan in for milk and cookies, but Jeff probably ate them all already.
Yeah. Oh man, we're never gonna let Jeff live that one down, huh?
No, I love it. Fat Jeff
Yeah,
Gordon.
Tony Stewart actually seems to get skinnier every time I see him.
I know.
Life turns out that way,
I don't know.
you know. He's a drag racer now, and Jeff Gordon is Mr. Hendrick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you hear Tony Stewart's take on Stewart Haas Racing and them sucking, and he's getting tired of being
I
blamed for
did.
it?
He said something similar
Yeah.
last year, just not as aggressively. Obviously, 1 year of bad racing is bad enough, and then the second year he has to get a little more aggressive about it. You think they're going to run any better?
If they do, it's because of the Ford. All the Fords will run better. I don't think they will run significantly better than any other Ford.
Yeah.
If they're better, it's just because Ford's better, and that'd probably be the extent of it. They might win a race or something, but they're not going to be true contenders, I wouldn't say.
Yeah. It's hard to call it. There's such an interesting little situation over there. Chase Briscoe being the most veteran driver. If Ryan Preece maybe as well, because Ryan Preece was out of the Cup for a little while, so I don't know who has more overall seasons. But either way, it's not more than 3 or 4. And then you got Josh Berry and Noah Gregson coming in. You think Noah and Josh are going to be good enough, but Cup's really hard. You just don't know how they're going to compare. I hope Stewart Haas runs better. Obviously, I'm a big Tony Stewart fan, but Cup's so competitive. I just don't see it.
Yeah, there's no senior driver there. There's no leader really as far as the drivers go. At least I know I saw a comment that Ryan Preece wants to be the new Kevin Harvick of Stewart Haas Racing. I don't know why he thinks that, but in all reality, the other 3 are no more the leader of the team than he is, I guess.
Yeah.
So I feel like if anything, it's going to be one of those everybody wants to be the next Kevin Harvick of the team, and all of the teams are going to struggle because of it. There's going to be some kind of power trip.
Yeah, I could see that. I really could.
I honestly see that team going the way of Roush, mid 2000s.
I was picturing that as well. When's the last time so many young drivers got kind of put into rides? And I remember the Roush thing in the mid 2000s differently because those guys all were good immediately. So it's easy to forget that in 2005, Greg Biffle had only been in the sport for 3 or 4 years. Kurt as well. He was already a champion. Carl Edwards was a rookie in 04 and wasn't even supposed to be. And then the fifth member of that team that I'm forgetting, Matt Kenseth was, I think 2001 was his rookie season. But they all turned out to be good immediately, though. This is different. Chase Briscoe has 1 win, and it was the second race in a next gen ever. Not that doesn't count or something, but I just that's what I remember about it. So they're going to have a learning year. The biggest thing they have going for them is Rodney Childers. Rodney Childers likes Josh Berry. We know Josh Berry knows how to drive. It's weird that Ryan Preece would say he's the next Kevin Harvick. When he already has a couple of years of kind of showing us that he's not. Kevin Harvick won his 3rd start, So okay, maybe even if you started winning races right now, you're not Kevin Harvick. And maybe from a leadership aspect you are, but you're still a few years off. Rodney Childers is the next Kevin Harvick. Rodney Childers and the 4 team, that's the leader of Stewart Haas Racing. And anyone that tries to push in on that, that's on them. That's the wrong move.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Berry may be coming in as a rookie, but he's the same age as Kevin Harvick.
I didn't know that. But you're right.
No, he's probably not. He's probably not.
No, yeah, he's got to be. He is closer than at least Noah and them are. I remember Josh Berry running in those celebrity iRacing races on the internet in 2010. He was in Xfinity races in 11 or 12 or something.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he's been mentoring drivers in the Motorsports late model program for a lot of years. He saw William Byron go through Noah, just to name a couple there.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Not all the teams can run up front. There can only be so many big teams. And Stewart Haas is just kind of stuck in a weird spot right now because unfortunately don't have a Kyle Larson. So
Yeah, they could have had a
yeah,
Kyle Larson.
it only comes around every once in a while.
One thing we talked about pre-show it's not really NASCAR, but it could be NASCAR in some aspect into the future. Apple released the Apple Vision Pro, and we were just kind of spitballing like how
Yeah,
cool it is. Not necessarily in aesthetics, but just like functionality. Um, how neat kind of would it be if obviously it perfects itself a little bit more, but that technology gets implemented into like NASCAR or any major form of racing where you have the goggles or glasses or even in like the visor of the helmet, and it's almost like it'd almost be like playing like NASCAR Heat or something where you have like the track map and like
yeah.
your tire wear and all the data just kind of like projected into your visor of your
Yeah.
helmet.
Something I'm curious about since we had that conversation is, like you said, the technology is going to have to get perfected and kind of come along. But how many drivers are going to try it before it's something that gets officially implemented? Like how cool suits and stuff just started getting used. Are there any drivers out there that are going to find a way to use it while they're on track before anyone else thinks to use it and gains an advantage? And the other side of that coin is how many fans. I don't know if Apple or NASCAR or anyone's going to work on something for this, but if you're sitting in the stands at a race and a bunch of zooming cars go by, it might be nice to have a little indicator above their head that says, like, oh, that one's the 9 and that one's the 5. And they're first and
Oh
second.
yeah,
And then when
that'd
you're
be
going
cool.
through a pit cycle, maybe you can track the pit cycle a little better because you see who's on the lead lap and who, inherited the lead from who. And there's just a lot of data that can be given to a fan sitting in the stands without them having to listen to a scanner and everything like that. That's the part I'm excited about.
Yeah, yeah, it'd almost be like a perfected version of that thing Nextel came out with, that little yellow box that kind of
Yeah,
had
in the
that information,
commercial,
but it was
that's what it
also
looked
a
like.
piece of
Yeah,
shit.
but it was a piece of shit.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right. They look like Dale
like
goggles.
like
Like
most
NASCAR
things.
fans are gonna like
Yeah,
want these things if they can afford them.
it's going to be such a weird future. Can you imagine being at just any sporting event and everyone's just sitting down wearing goggles the
Yeah,
whole time?
I don't know. I mean, they're tinted.
Mm,
Hopefully, they fit over
Yeah.
glasses. I can't even use things like VR and Apple Vision Pro.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, yeah, you're gonna have to get the prescription version. That's like
I
another two
know, I
thousand
know.
bucks.
They'll have it too.
Oh yeah. I I want to call them Apple
Apple
goggles
goggles. That's pretty good.
or eye
Idale.
goggles. Yeah,
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. I like the idea
That's
of being able to just kind of watch, a screen in front of you that way. I don't know if I want to pay all that for them or, to carry around a battery in my pocket, but I think the implementation of
yeah,
using it for sporting events or concerts and, of using it to go to museums there's a lot of good implementation for it in the recreation market.
yeah. And for watching porn.
You- You're gonna get us canceled before we even start.
So Super Bowl was awesome. Fat Jeff Gordon showing up. The Rock is showing up. DJ Khaled, Pitbull, new Ford, new Toyota.
Kevin Harvick in the
Noah
booth.
Gragson's back. Kevin Harvick in the booth. Um, we don't know anything about who's fast
They're not
or
even going to
anything because
practice before
nothing's happened in
qualifying.
the.
Like qualifying is an engineer race this year rather than a crew chief race. Like whoever just unloaded the best is going to
Yeah,
win. So who do you think has the best engineers, huh?
and probably Hendrick.
I don't know. Top of my head, I'm going to give it to Truex based on that principle. King Small seems like a pretty
Yeah,
analytical guy.
yeah, seems foreign to me.
Boy, I wonder why.
Yeah. um. So yeah, what do you think the biggest storyline is before we head out of here, going into Daytona or during the 500?
I hope that next week we're talking about how people raced each other with respect, but we had an amazing race. You know, like I do want there to be exciting, tight racing, but I hope the storyline is that somebody did it and they did it right. And at the end of the day, I hope that it's Daniel Suarez. You know, Trackhouse has kind of
Yeah.
been quiet on plate tracks. Daniel Suarez is usually he's up front. He gets caught up on a lot of wrecks. So I just hope
Yep.
that we're still this excited for the season when the Daytona 500's over, because I'm itching for it. I'm ready for some
Yeah.
racing. I deep down, I do not care who wins. Like the thing I'm most hopeful for next week is that we're sitting here not talking about a rainout.
Mm. The weather is looking bad as of now. So, but it's Daytona and it's 5 days away, 6 days away still.
Yeah.
So, that obviously has a high probability of changing. But even if it rains, I hope they run it, whether it's midnight or 1 in the morning. But NASCAR really could use not having 2 rainouts in a row.
Yeah. I like when it rains a little so we could have a night race. I'll take that.
Yeah.
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 Well, Derek, it was a good episode.
All right.
We got 2 down now. We'll definitely have to do it for Dale next week. So
Oh, yeah. Post Daytona, Kyle Busch wins in the RCR car after 20 years. No better way to
yeah, we'll
celebrate
celebrate
that.
with some Busch Kush. Yeah.
Or we could be getting it for Gordon in 24. William Byron takes it
Yeah.
home.
Hey, William Byron's due for a big win like that. He's been winning a lot lately. So, what he won the Coke 600 last year.
He's got. I would say he's got big shoes to fill for Jeff Gordon, but I don't think Jeff Gordon has big shoes. What he does have is a big pair of pants because he's not fast.
Yeah, one more. I had to squeeze one more in there. All right, man.
All right, dude. Well, look forward to it. We'll catch up Monday and see who's the
Yeah,
500
absolutely. I
champion.
can't wait. Thanks for another good episode.
All right.
Catch you later.
Peace. Yep.